Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is a great day to have another conversation. We want to say thank you for joining us here on the NAP channel or page, wherever you are watching us. We thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. My name is Samuel Buissereth, and I'm one of the marketing managers here at the NAP team. Welcome to the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals. We're excited that you're here, and we thank you so much for being part of our community. And we're excited to dive into a fantastic series that we've been having with you all, the Real Estate and Community Development Virtual Symposium. And so we want to thank you for joining us on this series where we bring your experts and resources to help our community be informed and knowledgeable and confident with these types of decisions that are going to be made when we're talking about real estate and building wealth. And before we get started, I want to take the moment to thank not only you as our audience, but also our partners who make this series possible, whether it be Collège de Café, the Escrow Group, the Haitian Real Estate Professionals Association, or better known as HRPA. We thank you. Thank you for your continued support. And today's episode is all about the understanding of the title, escrow, and closing process. And in other words, what actually happens after you offer on a home is accepted and you've made that transition. And we'll cover the role of title companies and do a little bit of research and insurance and escrow. So obviously a lot of things that I'm going to learn too along with you. So we're excited to have our very own expert here today. We'll walk through a lot of things, and we want to go ahead and introduce Carline Saintilus, who is not only an entrepreneur, she's going to tell us about her expertise. Welcome to the stage. We're going to learn about your experience over the years and all of the types of things you're involved with as a visionary behind your own platform. So we're just excited. We're excited about what you have to offer. And a little birdie told me that you are showing up from the great Barry University and also a proud alumni of the illustrious Florida Memorial University. Absolutely. And so we welcome you. We welcome you and all of what you bring to our show and the platform. And thank you so very much.
Wow, what a welcome. Thank you so much, Sam. I really appreciate it. And yes, I am a proud alumna of Barry University, raised in Miami, and went to graduate school at South Florida's only HBCU, Florida Memorial, where I'm a marching lion. I hold a master's degree in business administration from FLOMO. But I no longer live in South Florida. I moved to a different part of the state, and I live in Southwest Florida, which is also known, a lot of people heard of the Naples, Fort Myers area. So this is where I am. I'm serving, although I operate in the entire state of Florida as well as other states as a title agent. Now, so thank you so much for that. As a title agent, I've been in the industry almost 3 decades. When I was little, I wanted to be an attorney when I grew up. I guess I'm still little. I haven't made it to attorney status yet, but I believe in the work that I'm doing. This was a divine change for me because when I was pursuing a law degree, a pre-law major, like the trajectory of my life changed a little bit. And so I had to pivot. I started working for a title company, and here I am almost 3 decades later, and I love it. To be honest with you, I feel like this work is my playground. I come every day, I get on the swing, I get on the seesaw, I do all of the things, and I get paid. I love it. I love it. I practice in multiple states around the nation, and prayerfully, the retirement plan is to become a national organization where we're going to be franchising, and we're still in the works and trying to get all of those details together. And here we are. On the personal side, to me, I am a mama, I am a grandma, I'm a wife / mom. You know how y'all men could be. I'm messing around. My husband's he's a great guy. And we are empty nesters. Our children are adults. And then right now, another side of me, another part of my life that I'm going into is more of becoming an official public servant. I'm actually campaigning. I'm running for office in my local town. And once elected, because I have already declared victory, that I will be the first Haitian American to hold office in Lee County. And so elections are in August, so we're in full swing, and it's been a ride.
Wow. This is incredible. This is,
yeah.
If you did not know who Carline is, there is, I believe, the tip of the iceberg. I feel like there's so much more, and you were eloquent in breaking it down and giving us exactly the appetizer we need for this chat today. Because I wasn't born in Florida, but I was definitely living there. And to see such an amazing woman as yourself be able to create this pathway, this career, while also having a family, kudos to you. And yes,
yes. So from the majority of us, I would say at least probably about 98.9% of us, so from voyant, we do all of the things. And we do it so eloquently, and we carry literally the weight of the world on our shoulders. Wear so many hats, and we're Black women. We're top tier.
Top tier for sure. So thank you for giving us a little insight on some of the things you have going on. Mm-hmm. We're excited about this new pivot that you are doing and becoming a public servant. And we truly believe that all of the things that you have been through over the years are culminating for this moment. So we're excited for you. We really are. This is great.
I should also add that I will still keep my daytime job. I'm not going to stop doing title work. I love it. Like I said, it's my playground. So what kid not wants to, I don't know of a child that wouldn't want to always be in their playground. So that's
what is that quote? If you're going to work and you're doing something that you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
And so, honestly, that's what it is for me. So I love it.
That's so one of the things that brings you here today is the fact that you've been inspired to launch something special, and you gave us a snippet of that. So we'd love to learn more about your very own title and escrow agency that you have going on. So thank you for bringing your resources here to the platform. And we're excited to chime in and find out what you are able to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I usually, when I do presentations, I really like it to be engaging. We can all just turn it into a dialogue. As I'm doing the presentation, if a question pops up, please don't wait until the end. Let's talk about it and give examples. I usually like to ensure that when I'm explaining a concept, that I can put it in a way that it can relate to whoever is listening to it, right? And this is the teacher in me by heart. At one point in my life too, I was also a teacher when the market crashed back in 2009-10. So I've always been a teacher by heart, and I will continue to be a teacher in many different capacities and in the title world as well. Because when you're working in the title industry, you're part of a real estate transaction. And for many of us, if not all of us in America, the largest transaction that we will ever make, it would be buying real estate. And so it's important that everyone understands the many different components that tie into real estate. It's not only just signing a contract and giving the money and then, hey, great, I got the keys to my house. There's more to it than that. And so it's important that everyone understands, at least on a very granular level, what goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because you're absolutely right. These types of transactions are not only generational shifting, however, being able to be prepared enough to go into that type of transaction with as much information, as much knowledge is critical. Right. And so we appreciate what you bring to the table, because so many, especially maybe those who are going into that type of purchase for the first time, it's foreign to them, or maybe the knowledge is simply not there and they're learning as they go, or they're trying to make sure that they have as much information available so that they make the wisest and most thoughtful decision possible. And what better way to go about it than to have something and someone like you who can be relatable and explain the terms and break down those things that are going to be important when we go on that task hunt for this type of purchase. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And yes, and you're right. Buying a house, regardless of whether it's your first home or even investment home, it's no walk in the park. There are so many different things that goes into it, things that can happen along the way once you're under contract. It's just so many, I've been doing this work a very long time, and I was talking to just a gentleman this morning, and we were sharing about our professional experiences, and I was like, I think I have enough stories during my tenure in this industry to write a New York Times bestseller, because all of the things that I've experienced has been nothing short of amazing. It's a lot.
I believe it. And even someone like you who wears so many hats, those stories never die. And you keep on gaining more and more stories and illustrations and experiences that you can relate back to. So I agree 100%. Now, question for you. In your years of doing closings, what's been the biggest misconception? Because I know you're going to get into your presentation pretty soon, but I wanted to ask that question. What has been the biggest misconception that you see, especially for first-time home buyers, about what happens between the accepted offer and getting the keys?
The biggest misconception, what I've experienced, and how do I say this? It all depends on who's listening to it. On a real estate transaction, there are many different professionals that work, and we should all work because we all have the same common end goal, and that is to get the client the keys to their home if they're a buyer, and get the client their monies if they're selling, right? Yeah. The job is to ensure that both parties are satisfied, and then for us, we move on to the next family to help them. Everyone has a role in a real estate transaction. The realtor does what the realtor does, the lender does what the lender does, the title company does what the title company does. Individuals, but we have this common goal and we're all working together, right? Part of the problem, part of the issue and or misconception is that oftentimes you would have someone who has an assigned role, but they're infringing on the other professional's job. And that can become problematic. It can. And oftentimes, and for all of us who are the licensed professionals, we are entrusted with a responsibility. We go through the education, we apply for our licenses, get vetted by the state that we're in to operate, and we have a license and they trust us with it. And we cannot take that lightly. And if we do anything that would even appear to be unethical, immoral, and what have you, or we're breaking the rules, we're subject to disciplinary action. And so oftentimes you have someone who is not a title agent, for example. I'll use me for an example, and we're working as part of a transaction, but they're telling me how to do my job as a title agent. And I know that's not the proper way to handle things. It happens all the time. And then it becomes a little bit of a struggle in a sense, but then I've had that happen to me as recent as this week. And you get to a point where you have to professionally correct that individual with respect, of course. And you say, hey, this is my job and this is what I do. I'm not going to infringe and tell you how to handle your job. Let's redirect and try to focus on the end goal and allow me to do my job and I will always allow you to do your job. So that's the thing, because if there's infighting in between, in the end, how I see it is us as real estate professionals, we're the parents and our clients are the children. And so if parents are always fighting, ultimately the children feel the effects of it. And so we, as the real estate professional working on a team on any transaction, we should be able to work in unison. We should be able to work in harmony. Yes, there are going to be disagreements, but then that's where dialogue comes in. We have the conversation, we explain, we clear things up, we do all of the things, and then we decide, okay, or even if we have to agree to disagree, we do that, and then we still decide to continue on that path because the end of the road is where we're looking to be.
Wow. See, respectfully out there for all of you professionals, no.
Period. Period. There's no other way to put it.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. So one of the first things we have to have is a couple of vocabulary words. Please go ahead and tell us about what a title is and how that works in our process.
Great. I have a PowerPoint presentation I'm going to use as a visual as well with some terms and explanation and definitions. So we'll just go through it. And if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt however you see fit, and then we can talk about it. Okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so title, and if we need to go back and forth in Creole Anglais by Sao, I'm totally on board with it, okay?
Wonderful.
So title, pour moun ki parle Creole yo, c'est titre. Titre is also known as a deed. The deed, the warranty deed, the special, and there are many different types of deeds. Warranty deed, personal representative deeds, and a lot of people know there's a common term called the quitclaim deed. And these refer to as legal ownership of a property, okay? You will also, when you purchase a property, the title to the property, whether it's a warranty deed or a special warranty deed, is always signed by the seller. So whoever is the current owner of that property at the time, they have to sign that deed, transferring the ownership of the property over to the buyer, which is going to be the new owner. Okay?
That's good.
Now, when the buyer is taking ownership to the property, there are many different ways that the buyer can hold title. And that particular term in our title industry world is called vesting. And vesting is the way you hold title, how you own a property. Because there are many different ways a person can purchase a property. They can purchase it as an individual person. Right? I can be myself. I'm purchasing a home individually, and I'm Carline Saintilus, a single woman. That's what individually means. The other term would be tenants in common. That's where each person owns 50%, and upon death, the heirs get 50%. So an example of that would be, I'm in a relationship with someone, and we are not married. We're both just in a committed relationship, and we decide we want to purchase a home together. Because we're not married, each of us individually own 50% of that property. So I would be Carline Saintilus, a single woman, and my partner would be John Doe, a single man. And if we are a blended relationship, so if I come to the relationship with children and he comes to the relationship with children, we're known as tenants in common. And God forbid, if any one of us were to die before the other, our heirs, meaning our children, that 50% interest would transfer on to our heirs. Does that make sense?
It does. And I see how even at the very beginning, the legality of things is to make sure that everyone involved has a fair opportunity at being at the table, knowing what's going on, and making sure that everyone involved in any aspect, especially what you were mentioning, are able to benefit from owning a home. Okay.
And that's where estate planning comes in. In fact, in next month in July, one of my attorney partners and I, she is a wills, and so I see you too. She's a wills, estate, and probate attorney. She and I are hosting a webinar, an in-person seminar here in Fort Myers, teaching exactly that to mainly the Haitian community. One of the things that Haitians tend to shy of talking about is preparing for what can come in the event of death, especially when you own assets. Oftentimes you die and you don't prepare and decide how you want to create your estate or your will and those types of things. And then when you leave, if you have family you leave behind, they end up fighting over bien. And so it's always, and just because you're preparing doesn't necessarily mean death is around the corner. It just means that you want to leave a legacy. You don't want to leave a mess.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, that's good. That's very good. Thank you for mentioning that, because it can be a hot mess, especially when things are not put in place for
Correct.
proper distribution
Correct.
or ownership or even responsibility. So
Correct.
Thank you for that. And I'm sure the folks in Fort Myers get ready for a great session and take notes.
Absolutely. So that would be the tenants in common would be definitely for a common law type of relationship where two people are purchasing the property. Now, if there's more than two people purchasing the property, let's say it's three people, for example, and each of them are single. So then it would not be 50-50 anymore. It would be 33.33333% until we get to 100%. So it would be divided equally amongst however many people that are purchasing the property under the vesting of tenants in common. So if we have 4 people, it would then go to 25% per person. Okay. I just wanted
Okay.
to just clarify that.
Yes, thank you. That's
Yeah,
good.
of course. Joint tenants with rights of survivorship. So that is another form of vesting where each person, if we're talking about just two people, just for the sake of keeping round numbers, it would be 50% ownership interest to each person. And if they take the title to the property as joint tenants with rights of survivorship, that would automatically mean that if, God forbid, my partner passes away or I pass away before them, then that ownership interest automatically transfers to the surviving owner.
Okay.
So then what that does is kind of, it diverts going through the process of probate and going through the courts and all of that stuff, because those can be costly and timely.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's how that works out. And again, that is all part of estate planning. I would definitely and always recommend seeking out legal advice from an estate planning attorney to help make sure you have your affairs in order. Yeah. Then we have tenants by the entirety. So this is marital property. So this is me and my husband. We're purchasing the property as husband and wife, right? We're purchasing the property as husband and wife. And that means that we're one unit together. And as long as we stay married throughout the ownership of the property, any non-governmental liens, they don't attach to the property.
Okay.
So it won't be imposed as a lien on the property. Non-governmental. That's the operative word. So if we have an IRS lien, yeah, it attaches.
That's Uncle Sam.
We can't get away from that one. So let's say, for example, a non-governmental lien would be maybe a hospital lien. Okay. That would be one. If we have a judgment, that would be something non-governmental. Now, marriages sometimes fail. And if a divorce happens during the ownership of the property, then that would revert the ownership of the property back to tenants in common, because each person would then be single at that time.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's good. Which I think a lot of folks fall in that category with the demographics you may be dealing with. So it's good to take heed to.
Yes, absolutely. And it's important that they know this information. Okay. So what is title insurance? Title insurance it's an insurance just like any other insurance. However, it's specialized. So most insurance protects against potential future events that is paid on installments, whether it's monthly or an annual premium. And sometimes those are most oftentimes they're subject to renewal. Like, for example, your car insurance. Title insurance, policy insures against events that occurred in the past and could have a negative impact on ownership. And this is a one-time premium paid at the closing. And as long as you own the property, it is yours. You're covered.
Which I hope some people don't feel that it's unnecessary, because that makes sense.
Yeah. So I can give you. And the title insurance is the rate of the title insurance. Some people may be asking, how much is it? It is in Florida and in all of the other states that I practice too. It's based on the sales price of the property, right? Okay. And those rates are set by the state that the property is situated in. So Florida has their own rate. Tennessee will have their own rate. New York, New Jersey, et cetera, et cetera. So each state has their own rate and how they do it. And they each have different nuances too. Okay. Now, again, title insurance protects against events that occurred in the past. Now, you might ask, what kind of event could have occurred in the past? Okay.
I've watched a lot of documentaries, so I think I have an idea.
Give me an idea.
Oh my, anywhere from a bad pipe to maybe, I'm assuming, a murder, right? I'm trying to give you a range.
Not really. Okay. Let me give you an example. Un exemple en créole. On dit par exemple, moi gen maman qui te gen yon kay. Maman mouri li kite kay nan. Mais maman mouri li kite kay nan, c'est nous quatre petites qui rete.
Oui.
Right? Nan quatre petites moun qui rete yo, kay nan ta supposé nous quatre tous les quatre ta supposé héritier kay nan. Mais there, in the family dynamic, there's always going to be one standoff sibling. And that one sibling that just, I don't want to be bothered with my siblings. They have their own family dynamics. They have their issues and what have you.
Right.
So the three siblings decide, okay, mom passed away. We all have our own homes. We don't need this extra house. Let's sell it. So they go through probate, and then the court allows the probate and allows the home to be sold, and they go and sell the house, but that one standoff sibling is estranged from the family. Li pa vle di la vek famille lan. Lot twa ti moun yo van kay lan. Yo siyen did lan, yo fe closing nan vek compagnie title lan, mais gen yon denye petit ki pat jam siyen did lan. Ça vle di ou même ki vin achete kay lan nan men nou, nan men twa ti moun yo.
Oui.
Nou fe closing nan, twa ti moun yo siyen intérêt pa yo sou kay lan. You ou get a fait closing, wash the car, get a decorate car, get a fait tout belle avec car, and then about 2-3 years into you owning the home, that one last standoff sibling vient frapper porte là, and then he goes, "I'm moving in," and you're like, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" And he's, "Yeah, this is my mother's house," wow. And you're like, "I bought this house like 2 years ago," and he was like, "I wasn't aware of this." And then so you close on your house and you purchase a title insurance policy. And it is at that moment you pull out your policy and you reach out to the title company that facilitated that closing. Of course, your anxiety is going to be like through the roof.
Yes.
You're going to be super stressed and because this stranger just invaded your space and he's not leaving. And you say, "Hey, listen, I got stranger in my house and he says that this is his mother's house. What's going on?" And then the title company goes and does their examinations of everything and they realize, sibling number 4 never signed the deed. So that means you only own 75% of the house. 25% belongs to the guy that's invading your space. We have to put in a claim.
Wow.
So this is an event that happened in the past, right? Because you already 2 years into ownership. So then the title company puts in a claim, and then so now they have to make the transaction whole. So that's when their attorneys kick in, and then they reach out to Mr. Stranger Danger that's sitting in your living room and say, "Hey, we dropped the ball." If they want to take accountability, they will say, this slipped through the cracks. We know that we owe you 25% of whatever it is that you were entitled to. We're going to write you a check for that amount in exchange for you to sign the deed to your 25% ownership interest over to you as the new owner. And it is at that point he will agree. Well, at least he should. He will agree. He gets his check. He signs over his interest. They record the deed, and then you own your property 100%.
Wow.
That's how title insurance works. That's one instance. There are so many different things that the title insurance policy covers, but that's one that happens quite often. And it happens.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, because I don't think many people knew what all it entailed. And so I think this should pretty much be mandatory, if you ask me.
It should be. A lot of people tend to want to opt out of it, which in my opinion, it can be dangerous. But if they opt out of it in a situation like what I just explained to you, if a scenario like that pops up, they are literally on their own. Exactly. They're literally on their own. So this person will co-own a property with someone from the past. And that can be problematic, because then they won't be able to do any transactions on the property without that person signing off, because they have ownership. And so that's why it says it can have a negative impact on ownership. So those things can happen.
Wow. Okay. This is good. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah. Let's move on. Take notes. One note, because vraiment important. And I see it all the time. There are so many other different things. Let's say it's not a person. It could be a lien. If we, run a title search as a title company, and then we get our title report and it tells us what is attaching to the property, and we end up missing a lien, because human error is common. It happens all the time, right? And that lien also now is under the ownership of the new owner, the new buyer. So then that becomes it creates a financial impact for that particular person. And so these things do happen, and that's where title insurance kicks in. So it's a very, very, very important part of a real estate transaction, because, we're all investing in real estate. And again, it's one of the largest investment any one of us will ever make in our lifetime. And so it's important that we protect what we're, looking to do, especially if we're trying to build generational wealth.
Exactly. There are processes and steps that are beneficial to that process. So thank you for
Correct.
that.
Correct. So I will break down title insurance. Title insurance
Yes.
protects real estate owners, lenders against any property loss or damage damage they might experience because of liens, encumbrances, or defects in the title to the property. Each title insurance policy is subject to specific terms, conditions, and exclusions, because there are exclusions to title insurance, and we'll talk about that as we go on with the presentation. Okay. Any questions?
No, that's good. That's good so far.
All right, perfect. Who sells title insurance? Qui est-ce qui vend title assurance?
Metkaila? No.
No.
I'm
Title-
learning.
C'est pas Metkaila qui vend title assurance. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play the recording so that we can explain qui est-ce qui vend assurance titre.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Qui est-ce qui vend assurance titre? Agence assurance titre yo. Wol nou c'est pour nous évaluer risque qui gagne sous kala et puis résoudre yo avant moun ka acheter kala signer contrat. Après nous fin éliminer tout risque ou soit problème, nous capable assurer que kala dans bon état pour acheter.
Okay, so the title, who sells title insurance? I'll give it a little bit in English. Is the title insurance agent, and that would be yours truly. Yeah, our role is to evaluate a property and the seller for risk that could result in a future claim against the ownership of a property, just similar to the scenario I just explained. Okay, and our job is to resolve these risks prior to closing. Now, after eliminating all found possible risks, we are clear to ensure the buyer's ownership interest in a property. Again, human error is a thing. It does happen. And I don't like to say that it happens a lot, but it does happen. I would be fooling you if I said it didn't happen. We're not perfect. Any questions so far?
No, that's good. I think a question that pops up automatically is this something that you want to do early in the buying process, or do you wait for a few things to transpire and then work on this part?
So what happens in a real estate transaction is all of the parties are working together. We're each within our own respective roles. Okay. We are doing our work. And then when we come to closing, because once we receive the contract, the clock is ticking. So we already know what the closing date is going to be. And so based on all of the benchmarks that are outlined within the contract for sale and purchase, we already know how to start targeting and running our title searches and clearing title and communicating with all the parties and just doing all of the things in the background.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense then. Wow.
And if there are certain times where if depending on how bad our search comes back on, and when I say how bad, meaning how intensive it is, because we run 30 or 50 year searches. So we go back either 30 years on a property or even 50 years on a property, depending on the state. If we're unable to clear all of the title issues before the closing date per contract, then we send communication to all of the parties letting them know, hey, we're still trying to clear title. We're going to need an extension to the closing. We want to ensure that number one, communication is super paramount, and so that everyone knows, because as you know, in a real estate transaction, all of us who are party to the transaction, we are not paid until the transaction is closed. So we're basically commission based.
Exactly.
So and I kid you not, I'm going to tell you this, and this is maybe my ego talking, maybe not. I ensure any transaction that comes across my desk, we're closing.
Yeah. That's no, it's just no, what do you call that?
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
There it is.
Not at all. We are closing, unless it's something that's beyond my control. Because for me, in all the years that I've been doing this, I've been able to develop relationships with a lot of heavy hitters in the industry to where we can find alternatives to curing any issue that comes about.
Excellent. Oh, it's exciting here.
All right, so we have a couple of different types of title insurance policies, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to zoom through these really quickly. Okay. So the first type of owner of title insurance is the owner's policy. Now, the Alta Residential Title Insurance Policy is an owner's policy insuring owners of a 1 to 4 family residential lot or condominium, and this policy is drafted in easy to read language. Now, a little note here: this policy is optional according to the federal government. However, it's highly recommended. Okay. Just as what we talked about when you said we should make this mandatory. It is highly recommended. I don't know why the government makes it optional. And then this is coming from the consumer CFPB.
Oh.
I can't remember the name of them right now, and it's a governmental agency in place to protect consumers. But then you're telling them that the title insurance should be optional. I don't get the confusion in that. Anyway, so the lender's title insurance policy does not protect the borrower, okay? And then the second type of policy we have here is the lender's policy. Now, the lender's policy provides extended coverage for institutional lenders, such as banks, savings and loans, federally insured loans, and insurance companies. The lender's policy ensures the priority and enforceability of the lien of a mortgage. So if someone is purchasing their home and they're not purchasing cash, they have to obtain financing. That lender, the lender needs to ensure that the investment, the loan that they're giving to purchase that property is in first lien position. They don't want to be second, third, or any other position. They need to be first lien. And so with that, they require that borrower as a condition of the loan to purchase a lender's insurance policy.
Okay, so then CFPB would probably be something financial bureau then?
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. It's coming back to me.
Thanks for that. So the coverage is quite broad under the lender's policy and is available for most types of properties. Depending on the type of property, a survey is required to issue this policy. Now, the only exception that we do not conduct surveys on any type of property would be a condominium, because those are in a building. But for townhomes, single family homes, lots, mobile homes, we can conduct a survey. Okay.
Precisely. Okay.
Now, the lender's policy does not protect the homeowner in any way. The owner's policy would protect the owner's interest in the property, and the lender's property would protect the mortgage position. Yeah. Okay.
That's good. That's important.
Anything come up yet? Do you have any questions churning in your mind right now?
So I'm putting the pieces together. So I do feel that there may need to be a little bit of clarification on what the difference is. If you compare the two insurances, what makes them different from one another? Those first two, what makes them different from one another?
Okay, the two policies can be sold simultaneously if one is purchasing a property, but they are purchasing it through financing.
Okay.
So I will use me as an example again. I'm purchasing a home as a single woman, and I don't have the cash to purchase this home. Let's say the home costs $300,000. I'm purchasing it for $300,000. My owner's policy is going to be equivalent to the price that I'm buying the property for, which is $300,000.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I'm getting a loan from the bank. The bank is loaning me $250,000. That lender's policy is going to cover the mortgage, the $250,000 that the bank is loaning me to buy the home. In essence, the owner's policy will cover what I'm purchasing for the property. The lender's policy will cover what they're loaning me to purchase the property.
Got it.
The two can be issued simultaneously if there's a purchase and it's being financed. Now, if I'm purchasing a home and I have the $300,000 cash in my bank and I don't want to take out a loan, I will only purchase the owner's policy because I won't have a need for the loan.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. I'm so more less on that one.
All right. So let's move on. What does title insurance protect against? Title insurance protects against claims from defects. And defects are things such as another person claiming ownership to the claiming an ownership interest, just like that sibling that I just explained, improperly recorded documents, and something Florida is really known for a lot. And it's an F word: fraud, forgery, liens, and errors, right? These are things that title insurance protects against. Now, this next slide also gives another list of things that title insurance does cover. So I'll just go over maybe about 4 or 5 of them.
Make sure you screenshot this, people.
Yes, definitely. And they can always reach out to me afterwards, whether through social media or even in an email or calling the office. And we're happy to share any information with anyone who calls.
Great.
Okay. The list of things, undisclosed heirs. I'm going back to that one sibling that just
once the black sheep.
Yes, the one that was estranged from the family. Deeds that were signed by minors, because you have to be of age in order to convey ownership to a property. Okay, you have to be at least 18 years old. Okay, so if there is a deed that was ever conveyed in the chain of title and it was signed by someone under the age of 18, title insurance does cover against that. Failure to include parties in certain legal proceedings, federal estate and gift tax lien, just a list of things that the title insurance covers. Okay.
And I'm glad you brought a list of things that it does cover and provide that before providing what it does not cover. So that's good. Yeah.
Yes.
That's healthy. Thank you.
And as you can see, the things that title insurance does cover outweigh what it does not cover. It's clear. So there's just a little bit of items that we don't cover. And so those include easements and right-of-ways, boundary line disputes, zoning and building restrictions, permits and violations, taxes or special assessments off of the public record, mineral and water rights, unrecorded mechanic claims from occupants such as tenants if their property is not a matter of public records. Okay, it's not much, but the thing is with this industry, we do follow state law. We are governed by the Florida Department of Financial Services, and so when the lawmakers are in session, if they're passing any laws, and so this industry is ever changing, ever evolving. So we have to keep up with all of the latest changes in terms of laws. So these things they're fluid, so they can change from time to time.
Living documents, and they're always making adjustments and policy updates. So I get it. Okay.
Correct. Some notes about title insurance. The federal government mandates owners' title insurance policy as optional. However, the Florida Department of Insurance requires a valid title policy in order to issue a lender's policy. Just as what I said a few slides ago, the federal government says, no, you don't need it. It's optional. But the state of Florida says, yes, you do.
So don't caught in that loop.
Yeah, so it becomes a bit confusing. But for a minimal cost to protect your $300,000 investment, I would say it's worth it. We pay for all types of insurances anyway. We pay for health insurance. If we need to go to the doctor, we have that. Car insurance, our life insurance, all types of insurances. And this particular insurance is a one-time premium. That is it. It's not some of these other insurance where you have to make continuous payments. So for me, it's worth it.
That's good.
Title insurance is not transferable. So if you purchase your home today and you purchase it under your own individual name and you decide, oh, je vais mettre nos petites moi sous là.
Oui.
You can mettre nos petites sous là, mais on comprend que title insurance, assurance titre là, li pas transférer sur nos petites là.
C'est ça.
OK? On l'autre exemple. Tu achètes là jodi sous nom ou vous mettez sous LLC ou bien your whatever corporation you have, title insurance is not transferable. Okay, so it's vraiment important pour comprendre ça. Title insurance may become void when a quitclaim deed is signed on the property. It may become void. Okay, so you might lose that insurance coverage.
Wow.
And the lender's policy does not provide any coverage to a homeowner. The lender's policy covers their investment, the loan that they're giving. The owner's policy covers the homeowner. Okay. And the two can be issued simultaneously.
Okay. This is good.
So moving on, the title insurance companies, we do a lot of work in the background. We're super quiet. We were just in the back and we're doing all of the things to ensure that the property is ready to be transferred to a new owner. My firm belief is that no person coming into ownership on a property should have to inherit any existing issues that on a property. And so it is my job, it is my office job, it's my staff member's job, my colleague's job to ensure that everything is clear. We have an obligation to the lender because we have to issue a loan policy, and they rely on us to let them know, hey, title is clear. You can go ahead and approve this loan. So some of the steps that we do in the background is we run a title search and examine it. We order a municipal lien search if that's applicable. We obtain a survey, and the survey is in what we call in Creole son apantage, right? And then if there's a mortgage on the property, we have to request a payoff. If the property is governed by an association, we also have to reach out to the HOA and obtain financials on that specific property to ensure that homeowner is not behind on their HOA dues, or if there's no special assessments coming up. We need to know all of the financials associated with that particular property to ensure that we collect all of the monies that need to be collected and distributed to whoever needs to be receiving monies, to ensure that no issues come up about in the end. Yeah, if there is a tenant living on the property, we also have to request what's called a tenant estoppel letter, because it could be an investment property that's being sold. There's a tenant that is living in the property who's in a current lease, and so that tenant is going to be transferred to the new owner. So we have to reach out and send out a questionnaire to the tenant, asking them, how much money did you put down for your deposit? Did you pay the last month's rent in advance? Are you behind on your rent? Did you pay the rent for the current month? We need to know all of these things, because all of these come into play when we are working on the financials for the transaction.
Right. See, that's important. Huh.
Yeah. Some of the other things that we do is we prepare the closing documents. We work with the lender. We perform the closing. We record the deed. We hold monies. We disperse the monies, and we issue the title insurance policy. We make it look easy, but it's really hard.
Very hard. You have to be meticulous.
Very much, yes.
Thorough.
Thorough. And you have to be type A personality, all of the things, OCD to a certain extent.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, just a few more slides left. What can you expect? Once a contract is signed, both your lender and the title company start working. The title company will begin researching the property to verify that any outstanding mortgages are paid and that the property is free and clear of any violations, fines, and penalties. And the title company will order a survey, if applicable, to verify that no real property is built on their land or on the land of their neighbors. So we need to make sure that the property is within the boundaries of that specific property, that there aren't any encroachments, right? The property will order, the title company will order and review a municipal lien search for permitting. We have to review and make sure that there aren't any permits attached to the property, any violation issues with the code enforcement, and assist with resolving them prior to closing. Although title insurance does not cover permitting issues, the contract does speak to permits. It does state that the property should be sold without any permits. Sometimes the owner could have already taken out a permit to do some work on a property. Let's say that they're putting on a roof, for example, and they have the permit, and the roof job was done, but the contractor failed to close out the permit properly. And if we catch that, we call it to their attention and let them know, hey, this permit is still open. You got to go through the process with the city, get that permit closed, and send us proof. If there is a code violation, let's say that they have overgrown grass. It rains a lot in Florida, so grass, it grows really fast. And so the code enforcement, they would put a violation on the property, and sometimes they assess a fine. And if that's an issue, then we have to let them know this is a violation. You need to cure it. If there is a fine assessed, if you can pay it prior to closing, pay it. If not, let us know. We'll collect it as part of the closing and just distribute the funds to the county. So there are many different ways that we can cure a lot of issues. Again, my firm belief is that no new owner should come into a property as the owner with existing issues or pre-existing issues.
Wow, that's important.
I know I'm giving you a lot really fast. Tell me if I need to slow down. I'm happy to do it.
This is good. This is good. Fascinating. That's okay. We have a chart here. All right.
Yes, we have a chart. 3 jours avant closing, we have a requirement that the buyer, if they're financing a transaction, they're supposed to receive what's called a closing disclosure. And the closing disclosure is a 5 or 6 page document where they have to review how the monies are being allocated. And if they have questions, they would have that 3-day window to sit down with their loan officer. Say, for example, they were quoted an interest rate of 5% when they first applied for the loan. And then when it comes down close to the closing, the interest rate bumps up to 6.5%. So there's a difference right there, a variation. And so within that 3-day window, the borrower has the opportunity to sit with his or her loan officer and say, hey, what happened in between this time? I was initially quoted an interest rate of 5%. Now it's at 6.5%. It's affecting my budget. Explain to me what's going on. And so they have that time. And so with this 3-day closing disclosure rule, that if the closing date falls on a Monday, they have the preceding Thursday to receive the closing disclosure if it's going to be emailed, and Tuesday and Wednesday, et cetera, et cetera. Now, not everybody uses email. Some people prefer to receive hard copies. So the yellow shading gives the time. It gives a little bit more time to allow for deliveries by mail.
Okay.
For those that do not use emails or do not want their information sent in an electronic version. Okay.
Right.
Now, and if the 3-day period falls within a holiday, then obviously they would add an additional day for that, because most banks don't function on a holiday, especially a government. Okay. Yeah. So here's the document that I was talking about. It's the closing disclosure.
Yes.
So this is page 1 of the CD. It's the face page of it. It gives some demographical information related to the loan, talks about the property address, the closing date, the interest rate, the loan amount, the purchase price, what their monthly principal and interest is going to be. It also gives a projected payments. If they're escrowing for property taxes and insurance, it'll tell them exactly what that projected amount calculation of payment is going to be. It outlines the closing costs, and it also outlines the amount that the buyer has to bring to closing.
Okay.
That's the face page of it.
Right. That's page. Okay.
Next, page 2. Page 2 gives a breakdown of how the funds are allocated based on the transaction. So you have sections A and B. Those are the loan costs. Section C is the title insurance section, and it talks about any service fees or what the title insurance will cost. Right. And section E is the governmental fees, because there are taxes and recording fees that need to be collected as well. Going back to the loan fees, we have section F and G. Those are for the lender. And section H are miscellaneous fees that are collected as part of the transaction. Okay.
This is fascinating.
And all of these total the closing costs.
Okay. That was my question. Okay.
Yeah. So this is just an itemized breakdown of that. Right. Okay. So we want to make sure, number one, the consumer understands which party is being paid what. So that they understand the gist of it. Sometimes I oftentimes come across clients who they like, okay, fine, I understand. Look, where do I sign? And so I go along with them, but I always make sure that they understand. We want you to feel comfortable with this transaction, because in the end, after all the fanfare is done, it's between you and your 30-year mortgage. And so you need to understand that this is a commitment, it's a relationship, it's a marriage, it's an obligation, it's all of the things, and you need to know how your money was spent. It's great, but it's a huge milestone, it's a huge accomplishment. It's just like obtaining a college degree, buying a house, but you need to understand this can have a financial impact on your budget. Correct. And you need to understand how to work that.
Now, in the spirit of making sure you work on this, what would be a good red flag for a buyer to pay attention to during the closing process, or things that they should say, wait, I have a question? In your opinion, what would be some of the things?
In terms of title or just general?
You could definitely mention title. I was going to say general, but title would be our niche.
I've never had that question posed to me before. Simply because I have a huge ego when it comes to, and I mean that in the most endearing way. I always put myself in the position of the buyer, right? A lot of buyers they don't know the lingo. They don't understand the fancy language that goes on in this industry. And so I put myself in a layperson's position to know that I would not want to be on the receiving end of a property that has issues and the title company is trying to hide it from me.
Correct. Oh,
Okay.
that's so. That's reassuring.
And I do that for me simply because, again, it's an ego thing, and I'm a member of my community. I'm active in my community. My name is all I have, and I really like my reputation. I want my name to always be attached to something positive. And so when I run into a client or a customer at a grocery store, a gas station, or wherever I am, I don't want to try to go in the other way or try to hide from them. I want to be able to approach them, ask, how the house is doing and all, have those conversations. And so I've had plenty of transactions that have come across my desk where the seller is trying to avoid paying certain things, which would create a financial issue or burden for the client down the road. And I always disclose it to the client. I was like, this is what they're saying. They don't want to pay for it. If you choose to move forward and accept this, you could be subject to X, Y, and Z in a few years. And if they decide that they want to take on that burden, I pull out all of my hold harmless agreements and say, and it says, Carline explained this to you.
Yes.
This is the potential impact that can happen. If it happens 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road, you signed on a dotted line that you accepted and you will handle it on your own. You will not come back to Carline because she made it very clear to you.
Wow. No, that's powerful because, and I think when you mention ego, I know exactly what you mean because there are things that your conscience will not allow you to follow through with because whether it doesn't rub well with you, whether it's against policy,
correct,
or whether it be going against what the profession has been able to uphold.
Best practices. Yeah.
Thank you. Best practice. So it makes total sense. Wow.
Yeah. And it happens all the time. We're not that many in terms of Haitian title company owners in Florida or many other places. But the good thing about it is that I'm known.
Important.
Moi toujours essayer when the things come up, moi toujours essayer mettre client chita me parler ensemble avec lui, I explain to them this is what's happening, mais ça qu'arrive. And oftentimes we have sellers qui pas accepter, they want to hide from certain things. Let's say, I'll give you a perfect example, and this is a real example. We have what's called FIRPTA. FIRPTA is foreign investment real estate taxes, property taxes that need to be paid. A portion of it needs to go to the IRS for foreign investors when they own investment property here in America. We have a seller who wanted to close with his own title company. He did not want to close with the buyer's title company, and the buyer selected me. And when I vetted the seller, he was a foreigner, and he was subject to those taxes. I held it back. And when I held it back, he threw a fit because obviously he goes, oh, this is why I wanted to close with my other title company. They don't do this. I've closed 100 deals before and they've never done it to me before. And I said, just because the other your title company has done it doesn't mean it's right.
Bingo.
When it comes to on my desk, I'm going to do it right. I said, in the end, this is what needs to be done. And this is how we're going to do it. And if you so desire not to have these funds held back and sent to the IRS, then you will have to go and close your deal with another title company. And that's something you and the buyer has to work out because I will not allow that to happen under my watch.
Oh, that's reassuring to hear. Thank you for doing that.
Because with the foreign taxes, you can mess with any other agency or any other federal agency in America, but don't mess with the IRS.
Thank you.
And the IRS will find you. They will catch you. They may not catch you right away. You could be years into owning your home. And then once they reconcile their records and they see that this foreign owned property was sold to a buyer and it was an investment property, they will send you a nice bill to say, send us our money. And the buyer is going to be panicking. Yeah, and it happens. And so fortunately for me, this buyer trusted me enough and trusted my judgment enough to cancel the transaction because the seller was adamant about not paying that withholding, and they moved on. And
exactly. Wow. Oh, that's a great example.
So it happens. It happens all the time. And a lot of people don't understand the ins and outs, the inner workings. There are a lot of different nuances, but that's why you find someone that's trusted, someone who's going to advocate for you and actually do the right thing.
Exactly.
Même si c'est pas haïtien, I would always do the right thing anyway, because I'm above reproach. I don't really like to have things. And on a personal, because I do so much, and luckily I have not had any files that I've closed in the past come back to me. And so we help the family, we move on, and we know we did a good job and go on from there.
Exactly. You get to sleep well at night. You get to enjoy life and be able to say, you know what? I gave my best foot forward. We were thorough and we did our job. And now we get to celebrate with the client. So that's
correct. So moving on to page 4, it just gives a lot of disclosure information. I won't even get into all of these because in the interest of time. And then the last page gives additional loan calculations, how much is paid for over the life of the loan, the finance charges, the APR. And then at the bottom of that document, it gives the contact information of all of the professionals who participated in the transaction. So if the buyer ever needs to refer back to anyone, their contact information, email address, license numbers, all of that stuff is right there at the bottom of the page.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Now we're almost at the end. Cash transactions. In most cases, we can be ready to close in as quick as 3 days. However, there are things that are beyond our control. Sometimes we have to rely on an HOA if the property is governed by an HOA or a lien search. Those might delay the process. If a transaction is being financed, on average, finance can take up to 45 days. And if the buyer is receiving any type of down payment assistance, those can take a little bit longer, up to 60 days. Okay. And there are lots of pretty good deep down payment assistance programs, but if the buyer is working with a realtor and the realtor is referring them to any of those programs, definitely look into those. It helps you at least to get secured on a home and do your homework, do your research, be very active and proactive in your transaction. Because again, I cannot stress enough, after the transaction is closed, you have the keys to your home, all of the celebratory stuff is done. It's between you and your mortgage. And so you need to make sure you are comfortable, happy, and you know that you're working for your home and your family's future wealth. Now, that brings me to the end. These are the addresses of our brick and mortars. And for the most part, we do a majority of our work here in Florida, but we operate in different places, again, like I said, and we don't have the other states that we're licensed to practice in. We don't have brick and mortars in those states because the state doesn't require it. So
that's less of an expense for a business. Exactly.
A huge plus. And so we do everything remotely. Thank goodness we're in 2026 where everything can be done remotely for the most part. And so we just take advantage of that and try to manage the overhead with that. And so that brings me to the end of my presentation.
Wow. This is round of applause, everyone. This is fantastic. I think I speak for everyone to say that this is valuable information. Can you imagine trying to navigate these types of things without the knowledge and without someone like you, Carline, that can sit down and speak the language, understand the terms, lay out the process? Thank you for that.
Absolutely. And it's always important. The average consumer does not know that they have a say-so in choosing their own title agent. Oftentimes they rely on their realtor to refer the professionals that's within their network. And it's good. That's not that I'm not speaking against that, but everyone should know that if you're spending your money, you should have a say-so in who you prefer to work with. Always important, because you're building a relationship, right? A relationship that can potentially become a long-term relationship as long as you own that house. And if you're buying that first house, and a few years within of buying that house, you decide, hey, I'm ready to buy my investment home, or turn this one into an investment home and buy my forever home. Then you want to go back to that same title agent. You want to go back to that same realtor, that same lender. It's relationship. Or you want to refer your family, friends, coworkers, anyone that you go to church with or anything like that. So it's important you have someone that is approachable, someone that's accessible, someone that's still around.
No, that's good. And someone that's established, that has the experience, the knowledge.
Yes, absolutely.
You have your team that you work with. So sharing the load, you're able to take that influx of clients.
But again, the OCD in me, although I have a team, I know every single one of my files, every one of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting to hear. That's the special touch of Carline.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is with me too, and my clients can attest to this, I'm not one of these people that you cannot reach outside of the 9 to 5 typical time. Good. My husband shares me with my phone.
Wow.
Okay. That's because my clients are always calling. I make myself available to my clients. Again, it goes back to me saying that all of us who are part of the transaction as professionals, we work on commission. And it is, I feel that it's a responsibility and a duty of mine to carry my weight.
Yes. Yes.
Because we need to get to the closing table because we have to get paid. And that's our reality.
Exactly. I had a sales manager who told me, this is Sam, you're on commission, which means everyone else is your boss. All your customers are your boss.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And then that is the absolute truth. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
That's exciting. That's great. Oh, yeah. Wow. I asked my questions throughout the presentation. So I don't have any Q&A session for you, but I did want to say that there are a couple of things I wanted to, maybe I have one. We'll just do one. If you could leave the viewers with just one piece of advice before they head to the closing table, what would it be?
One piece of advice, be involved. Be involved. Don't put the reliance of your purchase on to your professionals. That's part of the transaction. Be involved, be active, be proactive. Ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Oh, that's powerful.
Now, don't overdo it, because sometimes y'all can overdo it. And I don't teach about for.
They're trying to Google their own thing.
AI told me. ChatGPT said. Boom. There you go. My brother, daddy, sister, brother, girlfriend, cousin said.
At church
said that they bought a house for $100,000 and their payments is only $7 a month. Why am I paying? Those are the types of things that we can't engage in that. We need to understand that a house that is $400,000 now in 2026 is different than a house that was $400,000 in 2019. It's different. It's completely different. So that's my piece of advice. Be involved, be engaged, be open-minded, and choose the people who are going to serve you. Make sure that there is a good relationship, because it's not just a one-time thing. I value relationships. I want long-term relationships. I have clients from 10, 15 years ago who still keep in touch with me. And so that's that. And I'm always answering their calls. And if they need me to show up somewhere for them, as long as time permits, I will show up.
Wow, this is good. This is good. Well, thank you. We really appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation with us.
No, thank you for having me. I'm super honored that you all were able to have me on. I love it. Thank you.
This is good. This is
super important. We need to teach, and it's even written, for lack of knowledge, men shall perish. So it's super important for us who have the knowledge. I didn't know all of this. Someone poured into me, and so I feel that it is my duty, my responsibility to pour into others. So I'm passing it. I'm paying it forward.
No, thank you. Thank you. From someone who's on the receiving end, we appreciate that, because these are critical information pieces that we need to not only live in this type of society, but also those of us who are leveling up, if you will.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Need that information to make the wisest decision, to make decisions that are very important for the rest of our future, and something as life consuming and financially consuming as a mortgage. You want to make sure we do it right.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And Carline, thank you. Thank you for sharing your time of the nearly, you said 30 decades. Wow.
Yes.
Almost there. That's good. That's good. And for everyone who wants to learn more about how to connect with you, where can they find Title Geeks?
Okay, so we are on TikTok. Title Geeks. We are on Instagram as at The Title Geeks, Facebook, Title Geeks as well. They can go onto our website. It's www.thetitlegeeks.com. And send me an email. It's Carline at thetitlegeeks.com. You can call our office line. Any one of us will answer, any team member. We answer questions. I won't give out my personal cell number right now, but most people have it.
Fine.
But I am accessible. Someone can always reach me. Our social media is monitored by our manager, our social media manager. So she does answer every question, any query, any DM. So we operate in excellence, I should say.
Wonderful. Oh, that's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
No pun intended. And so thank you. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And to all of our viewers, I want to say, go ahead and say thank you. Thank you for tuning in to NAP and our real estate and community development, our virtual symposium series. We want to say thank you once again to our partners, a big thank you to our partners, whether it be Collège Café, Escrow Group, and the Haitian Real Estate Professionals Association. We want to say thank you to those partners, and be sure to follow us up on NAP on social media and napusa.org and on our social media pages. Don't miss out on the next episode. Okay, so we look forward to that. And until next time, this is Samuel Buissereth again. Thank you, and we will see you soon. And I hope everyone is enjoying the World Cup. If you're watching this during the World Cup, continue to support our national Haitian team who made their debut after over 52 years. We're excited. And for those of you who remember, I'm here in Atlanta, and so I can't wait when we play against Morocco. So get ready. So if you that's right.
Go Haiti.
If you see me on social media with my jersey on, don't be shy.
Yeah, we're rooting for Haiti. We're rooting for Haiti in every which way. It's a huge thing. And yeah, we need this little piece of victory on our side right now.
Absolutely. We're excited. And once again, thank you. Thank you so much. We wish you the best and have a great campaign and all of the future endeavors. And thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. From NAP, we are out of here.
Thank you, too. Thank you. Thank you, NAP. I appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you, too. God bless.